Hey NAIA football fans, this is Cory Thorpe along with my co-host John Cooper, and apparently we had the same thought process to wear orange today.
Not that we're U-Pike Shills or anything, which they're having a pretty decent year, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But, the coaches over there were nice enough to send it to us, so we're going with the NAIA gear whenever we have a chance. We have Reinhardt, Faulkner stuff. Anybody looking to send us some stuff to show up on here, let us know. It's a good way to get your team visualized. Now, we're on YouTube and Twitter right now. If you have anything, guys, we're monitoring that. We'll take some questions if you got any. Answer it to the best of our ability. We got a great show tonight. Okay, we're talking about the top 25 teams that got upset.
Oh, man. Were there some of them?
Talking about some FCS versus NAIA matchups. Everybody's dream to play that FCS team. So, Cory, man, let's get started.
So, first off, we need to thank some sponsors. First off is Fifth Quarter CFB. They care enough about small college football to make this happen every week. They love what we do and want to see us continue. The second one we have for you tonight are some new friends. Sporting Goods powered by AdCraft. You'll be seeing a video from them not tonight, but we will be posting it up tomorrow. It's already on our website, right. NAIAFBALL.com, if you want to go take a look at them. They've got a lot of clothes and other apparel that you can look at on their website. And we'll be definitely working closely with them just to make sure that they get on the show what they want to get on the show.
Right. And, we're like the PBS of Twitter right here, supported by viewers like you. We appreciate you guys, appreciate the likes that we're seeing coming up. But let's delve right into it, Cory. We got a lot of upsets, and we're going to focus on the one in the Mid-South Conference.
Oh, man.
We got Kaiser out West Palm Beach playing Reinhardt last week. Kaiser ends up winning that game, a defensive game, 14-12. And I got to say, we said it on the show last week, Cory, but I think the Eagles of Reinhardt were looking ahead of that in-state FCS matchup this week against Kennesaw State. And the Seahawks over by Coach Sosha over there got up on them. This is the second top 25 win that Kaiser's had this season.
Absolutely. Kaiser was able to stem that rushing attack from Reinhardt and keep that in check. I mean, Reinhardt rushed for 287 yards, but they limited Billy Hall, the quarterback for Reinhardt, to 71 yards passing.
Right. And we just got a comment talking about William Penn, the Statesman's big upset over Baker. We're getting there. Holy cow, what a great way to go 1-3. And when we're looking at William Penn's schedule, they have a chance to go, 6-4, 7-3. Very favorable schedule.
That's a sleeper, definitely there. Upsetting Baker.
And Kaiser, getting back to the Kaiser-Reinhardt game. Cory, you got some stats for us?
To me, this game was decided by the turnovers. And Reinhardt lost a fumbled actually twice, but lost one. And in a game like that's that close. It comes down to who plays the clean game. Eli Matthews for Kaiser passed for 217 yards. Leading the receiving attack was Jalen Arnold with 4 grabs for 99 yards. Caleb Walls added a touchdown on 4 grabs as well.
Right.
That's a game where Kaiser threw the ball real well. Reinhardt ran the ball real well. And at the end of the day, it's whoever makes the least amount of mistakes.
And I think it says a lot about Kaiser because Reinhardt is a physical ball club that likes to run it the A, B, and C gaps. And if you can withstand Reinhardt's rushing attack, you're pretty daggone good if you can win a game against Reinhardt. So let's go to the next one. We got Evangel and Culver Stockton. Coach helped the boys over at Evangel skate through, get a victory, win 16-14.
We had talked about Evangel last week. This was their first game against a team with a win.
Right.
So we were real interested in how Evangel would play against a Culver Stockton team that had thoroughly dismantled Moval the week before.
And listen, guys, Evangel, that was a tough game. You look at that game on paper and you're thinking, this is just Evangel going against Culver Stockton, same old, same old. Absolutely not. You had the quarterback over there, Corbin Markham, okay, who was the player of the week for NAIA by every outlet, not only the NAIA itself, but also us, throwing for over 500 yards. We knew that would be a tough test for Evangel. He threw for over 283 yards. He just didn't take care of the ball. Yeah. And I think this is going to be a year where Evangel just heavily relies on that defense, which that's what they're known for. That's what the Crusaders are known for, is their defense. So I think they keep skating by as long as that defense keeps getting the stops and keeps getting turnovers. The next game was Montana Western versus Rocky Mountain. I think this was a surprise just because of the score, how lopsided it was.
Oh, my gosh. You look at two teams that were ranked right next to each other, and you would think that maybe – the score would be a little bit more even, and I don't know for sure, but I wonder if Rocky didn't let Carroll beat him twice.
Right. I'm wondering that too. I'm eager to see how Rocky bounces back this week with Coach Stutz. He's first-year head coach over there, but he's a veteran guy in the sense of just being around football. So I'm really eager to see how they bounce back. They got a top 10 opponent this week, so there's no need to feel sorry for yourself. You got to get right back on it. Now, to me, this was surprising just because you don't see a Georgetown team
0-2.
0-2, loses to Kentucky Christians. Shout out to the Knights over there in Graysonville, Kentucky. Okay, Georgetown goes down to South Florida to Lakeland, takes a big lump from Southeastern.
I'm telling you what.
The fire is blazing.
They lit them up.
The fire is blazing. Okay. Southeastern, a running back the name watch out for is Brian Bell. I was down at the Down and Dirty camp with all the NAIA schools this summer, all the NAIA Florida schools, and I just asked some of the Southeastern coaches about him. And they're like, he is the real deal. So,
I've got a highlight for you to put up after the show on him just making Georgetown look silly.
Our top plays are coming up, guys. I promise. They're not on the show, but they'll be coming this week. Okay. Oh, somebody just said they got an offer from Campbellsville. Congratulations there.
Congrats.
All right. Now, I'm eager to see, will Georgetown, I don't know if they find 4 or 5 wins this year.
They got to figure out a way to bounce back. I mean, you've got a team that has that much history and that good of a head coach.
Right.
They're going to find a way.
Right. And, back to Southeastern, Coach Bearfield over there, he's a veteran guy. All right. He has Southeastern absolutely rolling. 635 yards of total offense. That's hard to do on air. That's hard to do on a video game. 635 yards is absolutely insane. So Southeastern is always an offensive juggernaut. Is eager to see how they'll do if they make the playoffs, which I think they will. Will they get that first playoff win in program history? Another interesting thing about Southeastern, Cory, just about 2 years ago, they basically had a Division I coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's paying dividends now.
Yep.
I think that really set the standard. And for you high school guys out there, I mean, I'm not recruiting for Southeastern at all, but if you get a chance to get to Lakeland, Florida, and see the Southeastern campus, which is associated with the Southern Baptist Convention.
Oh no, they're
not.
They are crap. If you hadn't said that, I would have.
I thought they were Southern Baptist.
No, they are not.
Okay.
They are crap.
We'll fact check that.
Yeah.
But I will say they're associated with a Christian denomination.
Yes.
They have beautiful facilities. Assemblies of God, right there. Okay, thank you. God. Assemblies of God. They have a Chick-fil-A in the food court. Okay, absolutely. We're going down to a game this year. That's how. Actually, we're seeing them play away, but we're going to get to Lakeland soon enough. But Southeastern has it absolutely rolling.
I tell you what, I cannot wait for October 19th.
Right.
Kaiser, Southeastern in West Palm. That's going to be, if both of them stay.
Kaiser's second year, the rivalry is about to happen. But anyways, Cory, let's get to the top 25. That's what the people want to see. They want to see our media's top 25. All right, just so you know, guys, this is just not me and Cory making a top 25 here. Okay, we have different media entities that are involved in this. This is non-biased as possible. We have the Champion Sports Network. We have Oklahoma Panhandle Sports, or OklahomaSports.net.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, OklahomaSports.net, Champion Sports Network, the JV Sports Show out of Arizona, and then we have 406.
We have 94.9 Helena.
94.9 Helena, Montana. Okay, this is as unbiased as possible. Different views, different viewpoints of the NAIA. So when you see these rankings, it's just not me and him in our mom's basement. We're not brothers. But what I'm saying is we're not nerds just making up rankings, guys. All right. So let's go ahead and unveil the 21 through 25.
We got some with all the upsets going on. There was some movement going on in here.
Right.
Starting off with Briarcliff, who makes their debut in the poll at number 25. They've been lurking in the receiving votes category for a couple weeks now. They're 3-1 out of the GPAC. We'll see how the Chargers do. They've got a couple of difficult games that they're going to have to play.
You know, the team that's most excited about them entering our top 25 has to be Morningside. They don't have too many top 25 games left to play against, besides maybe Northwestern and a few others. Dort really let them down. But Briarcliff, if they keep climbing, they have to be happy about it. And the Chargers, they have a pretty favorable schedule. They have Morningside coming up, but they get Hastings, Dort, and University of Jamestown at the end of the season. No worse, Briarcliff should be 7-3 at the end of the season. That's what I'm calling.
You would think.
Number 24
is
Carroll. Carroll is back. NAIA royalty is back. They're 2-1. You know, they had that slip up against Montana Western, but they're showing some stuff, Corey. They are absolutely stiff on defense. They dominated Rocky Mountain as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they keep developing. The next one is Siena Heights at 23. Now, I have waited for them to get in our poll.
You've been voting for them for weeks.
I've been voting for you guys for weeks. I know how good of a program that's over there. They're the Mid-States Football Association. They're on the Mid-East side. Their schedule is about to pick up. If you want to climb the pole, Siena Heights, you're getting your chance. You got Marion, Concordia, and St. Francis all about to happen. So if you want to be the top team, you're going to get that chance. Number 22, Baker. I'm surprised they're still in the poll.
Baker falls precipitously after taking that second loss to a now 1-3 William Penn team. Baker's got a hard road to hoe at this point if they want to get back into it.
Yeah, they want to get in the play. They're just in the, I hate to say it, but they're just in the wrong conference, wrong division right now. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, and road doesn't get any easier for Baker. Number 21, Southeastern, is still lurking in that 20 to 25 range. We'll have to see what they can do, but after seeing what they did to Georgetown, it won't be long that they're
No, I think Southeastern will be a top 10 team when it's all said and done.
I think so too. At number 20, we have the Langston Lions. They come away with a victory this week. We'll just have to see coming up. You're going to have to play Ottawa, Arizona, and that's really going to be, I think, your deciding game in that conference.
That's the game everybody's looking forward to in the Sooner Athletic Conference. The SAC is kind of isolated over there. Our guys from the JV Sports Show covers it really well. I would like to see some KCAP and SAC matchups coming up. You had Texas Wesleyan and Kansas Wesleyan play earlier this year. I would love to see more of that. But Langston's still a little bit of a mystery. They've had some struggles there. They had a KCAT game earlier this year with McPherson where they won by 1 point. Okay, so it's really interesting to see how they're going to do. And they have a tough game with Ottawa, Arizona coming out.
That's going to be a war, and I am looking forward to it. Number 19, moving up after beating Rocky Mountain, is Montana Western. The Bulldogs getting it done this week, going to 3-0. Really and truly, that return game to Carroll, that's going to be the game to watch.
I absolutely agree. And that's the toughest thing about the Frontier and what makes it the most unique conference in all of college football, not just the NAIA, but all of college football, because they have that round robin schedule where you're playing majority of those teams twice. I mean, if I'm Carroll, Montana Western, I'm not going to want to see each other twice.
Not hard.
I mean, one team could knock you out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
In all honesty. So the Frontier is one of the weird, unique conferences, but they take their history all the way back to the 1930s. So that's a really rich conference there in history. But go ahead with our next team.
Number 18, Reinhardt drops down from 10 to 18. They're going to get their chance to, one, impress the voters this week. If they can beat Kennesaw State, they're going to have other games. They've got a game against Southeastern coming up that they can really redeem themselves. There's still a road back for Reinhardt. And with their style of play,
yeah,
they've got a shot.
I would say Reinhardt's one of those teams you kind of look forward to playing that FCS team just because they like to grind teams out. I know they took their lump this past week, and then you got Kennesaw State that already played an NAIA team with Point Georgia this year. Absolutely dominated them, but Reinhardt's not Point.
No.
They'll get after you. And no disrespect to the Skyhawks over there at Point because they are improving this year. But Reinhardt has the ability to grind teams out if they just take care of the ball.
Yeah.
I would say they have a shot, but Kennesaw State's absolutely legit for an FCS team. So congratulations, Reinhardt. You're getting your paycheck, you're getting your money, but try to go out there and get a win.
If I remember correctly, and you might correct me on this, last time they played Kennesaw State, they beat them.
Really?
I think so. Someone fact checked me on that, but I think I remember Coach telling me that when I went up there and chatted.
I wouldn't doubt it. Kennesaw State is a new. Well, Reinhardt's new as well, so there's no excuse for Kennesaw. But I look forward to that game. I think Reinhardt has a true chance to really grind it out. They take care of the ball. They're one of the most physical NAIA teams, so I'm looking forward to it.
At number 17 is the team that vanquished the Eagles, the Kaiser Seahawks. Again, what have we not said about Kaiser at this point?
The boys at West Palm Beach have it going. Their second season in NAIA, and they legitimately have a playoff spot. I'm telling you, that Reinhardt Southeastern game later in the year, that's going to decide that Sun Division playoff spot. But I think both of them, they need to just keep winning, because they might sneak in an at-large. I think this year in 2019, with the way the playoff system's set up, which for our listeners, if you don't know, it's very unique that, if you win your division or conference, some of the conferences don't have divisions, but if you win your division and you're ranked in the top 20, you're in the playoffs. So there's only so many at-large spots to go around, and it varies on how good the conference champions are. So you have to be really elite to get that at-large spot. It's just best to just go ahead and win your division and take care of your own business.
Absolutely.
Our regular season in the NAIA is like a playoff within the playoff. It's one of the most beautiful things.
So at number 16 is Bethel. They get another win this week, and watch out for the Wildcats.
Coach Jasper over there, they had a bye week.
Okay,
they have a bye week.
You're right.
So they have a week to get better. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. They struggled a little bit against Warner. And, if you're going to be a contender for the playoffs, you can't struggle against teams like Warner, who has a first-year head coach over there in Lake Wells, Florida. But, I'd like to see what the Wildcats in McKenzie, Tennessee can do when they get more into their division play. That's a tough division over there they play in.
Absolutely. They go to Point this week, so that's a good chance to kind of see where you are, see where that bye week took you. Looking at the top 15, Dickinson State comes in. I believe they had a bye week as well. Coming in, that loss against Rocky Mountain, it looks worse and worse.
Yeah,
at this point.
The great thing about Dickinson is you're isolated. You're going to win the North Star. You're going to be 9-1, unless something crazy happens. And we don't want to discount the boys at Waldorf.
No.
Okay, but what should happen? You've won the conference the past 4 years. You usually dominate your in-conference opponents. It's time to get better. I mean, literally, that's all it is. So, like, when you play that out-of-conference team in the playoffs, you stand a chance.
Coming in number 14 is Ottawa of Arizona. They keep just slowly but surely climbing the polls.
Yeah, and their quarterback was the preseason player of the year for the Sooner Athletic Conference. His name escapes me right now. Jalen.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I just remember him lighting up.
He threw like for 400 yards his first game.
Yeah.
But the JV Sports Show over there will tell you whatever you want to know about Ottawa, Arizona. And here's the telltale sign.
Austin McCullough.
Thank you, guys.
The
name escaped us when it's not in the notes.
All right. Sports had her back over there.
All right. Hey, so Austin McCullough is absolutely dominated points. And here's the telltale sign. Well, I know Ottawa, Arizona is good. One of our friends over at Ottawa, Kansas, who's in the same curriculum as Ottawa, Arizona. It's kind of like UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham, and University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa. You know, you got the elite team, and then you got the Conference USA team. And Tuscaloosa's mad that they're taking away that Birmingham, not even that much, but, you know, there might be a little bit of rivalry in Kansas and Arizona, even though they don't play. But when the guys from Kansas say, hey, that Ottawa, Arizona team is pretty legit, you know they're doing something right.
Absolutely. Number 13, we've got Evangel. The Crusaders go to 4-0, get that good victory over a team that has a little bit of a resume behind it. I think if they win this week, they're probably top 10.
Oh, I definitely agree.
Next up is Cumberlands of Kentucky. They are 2-0. They had a good game this week. And they face Union.
You know what's weird about Cumberland's Kentucky? And second year in a row, they finished 9-1 last year, and they did it as basically as silent as a 9-1 team can do. And they played Benedictine to the limit last year, the team that made it to the national championship. You know, Cumberland started out with 2 Sun Division opponents. They had that war with Ave Maria, which Ave Maria is a lot better than people think, the Catholic school down south in the Sun Division. Then they had Weber. I think we're waiting for the Pikeville-Bethel game to see where Cumberland's really is, to see that test, to see that measuring stick. But if they get past Bethel and Pikeville, and you never know, Cumberland, Tennessee could give them. They're in our top 25 this week, correct?
They're receiving votes.
Could give, but if they can get past those 2 teams, you have Lindsey Wilson waiting for them at the end of the season.
Such a reward.
But their schedule is very favorable where I think they go under the radar till that Lindsey Wilson game.
That's a distinct possibility. Number 11, falling just out of our top 10 this week is St. Xavier. There's no shame in that loss.
And I know we clown Division III teams a lot. It's very saturated, which I shouldn't clown them at all. There's a place everywhere for somebody to go play football, you know. But they played one of the most elite teams in Division III has to offer, Wisconsin Whitewater. I think I told you today the past 10 years that Wisconsin Whitewater and Mount Union has won 8 of the 10 national championships for D3. And then the branch off of Baylor University's won the other 2. So there's no shame in that loss. But playing in the Mid-States Football Association, there's no time to feel sorry for yourself.
They're on the good side, though.
They're on the Midwest side, but still, it's a tough conference either way.
It's a tough road. It's a tough road. So, our top 10. Lindsey Wilson comes in this week into the top 10. They are having just a really consistent season. They've done everything that they needed to do.
They've done everything. They put up 73 points last week. Cameron Dukes went off the chain for Lindsey Wilson. Coach Oliver has it really going over there. So, yeah, for them, they got to prepare for Bethel. They get a bye week. Bethel had that great year last year that, it's a good thing that your bye week's here. Even though I don't think Bethel's as good as they were last year, that's a great time to have it. They got Bethel and then Cumberland, Tennessee. So two measuring stick games.
Absolutely. And if they win those 2, you're you're going to position yourself really well for the rest of the season. Number 9, College of Idaho comes up into the top 10 as well.
When you return 20 starters, you should be in the top 10.
And this has got to be at least a 10-game winning streak at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
For College of Idaho.
Absolutely. So if you didn't know, last year College of Idaho started out 0-5, 0-5, and then they ended up winning the rest of their games. So, but they returned that many starters, they should be that.
Absolutely. That's going to be the test there in their conference.
Right, I absolutely agree.
So number 8 be Grandview.
What can you say about Coach Woodley and his defense? They're absolutely impressive.
They're suffocating everybody.
They're suffocating everybody. We found out with Baker earlier in the year, they absolutely suffocated Baker, held him to 3 points. I think until did they play Benedictine in the regular season?
I'm not sure
offhand. So I know they're in the same conference. Grandview is going to be very interesting. I think they were the 2013 national champions, and I think Grandview pretty much sails through their season unless they play Benedictine. And that I'm not sure of. But while Cory's fact-checking me, let's get with the Raiders, the Red Raiders of Northwestern. This is the year of the Raider, Cory. If Northwestern is to beat Morningside, it's got to happen this year.
It's got to happen.
With Morningside losing Solsma, Niles, and Xavier Spann, it's got to happen this year. We were a little bit worried. They kind of skipped through the games earlier, but it seems like they're back on track for their usual self.
And they get a bye week to prepare for their next opponent as well, like they really need a
yeah, absolutely.
Now, going back to Grandview for a second, they play Evangel this week.
Wow.
And to Atchison, Kansas, to take on the Ravens.
So we'll see how real Grandview is.
Absolutely. Grandview, I would absolutely love to see y'all put a dent in our top 5.
Absolutely. I would love to see things shaken up. But let's go to the next team, Marion, the rivals of St. Francis. Number 5. What can you say about them, Cory? They're just doing what they're expected to do.
Absolutely. They are just keeping on with the Marion standard. And we'll see here come October. Once you have that round robin of St. Francis, Concordia, Marion, and Siena Heights.
It's tough to judge the mid-states without knowing. But, Marion's handling business. They beat Trinity International 55-0. St. Ambrose was their earlier game, 49-14. We won't know really about them until October 5th when they get to St. Francis.
But you think about this. You've effectively got 3 teams from the same division in the top 6.
Yeah, and I think it's going to really shake things up. Those at-large spots are going to be hard to come by.
They really, really are. So let's look at our top 5. Concordia of Michigan, they claimed their first NAIA coaches poll top 5. They've been in our top 5 for a while.
Right, and deservingly so.
Absolutely.
They've been rushing the crap out of the ball. They had a very interesting start of the season. They played Division II, Kentucky Wesleyan, went over there, took care of business. And they had Olivet Nazarene, the Victory Bowl champions of last year, took care of business again, grinded them out. They got St. Xavier this week. It's on our games to watch.
It's going to be tough.
So, like I said, the mid-states is going to be its own measuring stick.
Yep. So at number 4, we have Kansas Wesleyan. They get their first big test of the year coming up this week. So we're going to have to see.
Yeah, well, we got Ottawa, Kansas coming off a loss. They dropped out of their top 25. Kansas Wesleyan, what can you say about that community over there? They supported them for 4 home playoff games last year.
Yep.
So, and the game is, I'd like to say it's at Kansas Wesleyan.
It's at Ottawa.
It's at Ottawa.
It's at Ottawa. So they got to go travel to Ottawa, Kansas, and play that game. We'll have to see because the running game travels.
Right. Obviously. Well, and then Kansas Wesleyan has all this star power over there. You got Shaq Bradford off the edge that has dominated record books. He hasn't even graduated yet. Okay, getting so many sacks after sacks. You got DeMarco Pruitt that pounds the ball. And then Johnny Photo, who is just as efficient as anybody.
Yep.
Getting the ball to his receivers out in space. making them look good, and he has a great vertical passing game as well. I mean, we saw the little bit of tidbits and clips where he has an arm.
Yeah, he does.
And you know, the national perspective of the KCAC is that they're undeserving. But I think after Kansas Wesleyan's run last year in the playoffs, Kansas Wesleyan, they're here to stay. The Coyotes are here to stay.
Absolutely. After you go through and you lose Photo, and you lose some of the pieces to that offense, you've got to show that it wasn't just a one-hit recruiting class.
Right. And, last year was Kansas Wesleyan's best season since 2002. I think that was their first KCAC championship since 2002. But I think that what they're building over there, because I followed them heavily with recruiting. They love posting those WWE videos with their recruits, which is absolutely awesome. And if you post Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring choking down an adult beverage, I mean, in this NAIA is really Christian, but it is what it is. But I absolutely would love Kansas Wesleyan coaching staff. So I think they got a great program going over there.
Absolutely. Number 3, you'll notice our top 5 doesn't change a whole lot until we get into this early October. We've got St. Francis, coming off a bye week, I believe they had.
Yeah, I think St. Francis came off the bye week.
And they go play St. Ambrose. So that'll be a little bit of a measuring stick between them and Marion.
Well, we just said, in a couple of weeks they got.
We'll know
Marion.
For sure.
Yeah,
we'll know for sure.
The mid-states will work itself out.
Absolutely. Number 2 is Benedictine. They have the 30 rushing touchdowns in 4 games.
I feel bad for Clark. First-year program.
Poor guys.
They got romped over.
Yeah.
But, here's the thing. I played for a program that was recently new, and we took our lumps at Cumberland's, Kentucky, there in Williamsburg, Kentucky. Lost 77-7. 2 years later, we beat them.
Exactly. You see what the standard of greatness is. That Benedictine O-line, I don't know what they're feeding those kids over there, but they are sure paving the way.
Oh, absolutely.
And they are absurd. We had a couple of Twitter votes for their entire offensive line to be our offensive players of the week.
Which, as an offensive lineman myself, I almost went for that.
I had to fight them off, guys. I had to do it. And of course, number 1 is Morningside. They get a bye week this week. What can you say about the Mustangs that we haven't already said? We'll see who they are later on this season when they play Northwestern.
And somebody just asked about what our thoughts were about the Ottawa, Arizona game and Wayland Baptist. Wayland Baptist better be ready to defend the pass. Ottawa, Arizona loves to air it out. And Wayland Baptist needs to have more success on the ground. If you're having success on the ground, you're controlling the clock, keeping Austin McCullough off the field. So for my suggestion on that, you better stop the pass and you better run the ball. Now, 417 helmet stickers. This is our sponsor. You guys have seen it where we've had the helmets right here, the miniature helmets, the big helmets, so you can do any one you want. The defunct high school you went to 40 years ago that you won a state championship at 4 years in a row, he can do that as well. 417 helmets on Twitter. Follow him. It's a great addition to your man cave.
Absolutely. And so let's take a look at the offensive helmet sticker. There was no way we could go to anybody besides LaShawn Rule. You almost rushed for 3 bills and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it. I believe both of those are actually school records for all of that.
That's Ron Dane type numbers at Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
Ricky Williams in his prime.
Yeah.
So congratulations,
absolutely. And he was NAIA Player of the Week and absolutely deserved it.
There's great things going over there at ONU.
Really are. They.
We talk about the mid-states a lot, but we don't talk a lot about ONU. They have a great coaching staff over there, and they'll get after you too.
I tell you what, they gave Concordia all they wanted until
Concordia 22-14
finally outlasted them.
Right.
Defensively, we have our first 2-time winner of our helmet stickers.
Didn't he just win like 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Wow.
But when you have 2 scoop and scores,
You got to win.
You got to win it.
Especially against a top 25 opponent.
Shout out to that was actually a hard choice for me. Our other choice on that was Dakota Southern's defensive back Wyatt Sanford. Who had 3 picks in a game. That was kind of hard for
tough.
me. But when you score twice,
Joe Crusader, man.
You gotta have it.
Gotta have it. So congratulations, Joe. Now, here's what we titled this week. It's Revenge Week.
Absolutely.
So, if you can get it on the screen behind us, I don't know if it's still working. All right. But the games to watch this week. Kansas Wesleyan versus Ottawa, Kansas. Okay. Let's just go ahead and pick. I know we have a lot of unranked, ranked matchups. But let's go ahead and pick. I got Kansas Wesleyan grinding them out with DeMarco Pruitt. I think Ottawa, Kansas feel sorry for themselves for losing last week to a team they shouldn't. I got the Coyotes.
I'm going to take the Coyotes as well. I think it's going to be closer than you would normally see in that matchup. I could not really name a game of the week this week.
There's so many.
I mean, so I'll tie the second two. Concordia, Michigan versus St. Xavier and Grandview versus Evangel. I think that St. Xavier is going to be mad coming off that FCS loss, and they're going to give Concordia all they want and maybe a little bit more. I have St. Xavier pulling the first top 5 upset of the year.
I'm going to stick with Concordia, and here's why. I think Correll Jackson gets fed the ball. Concordia is very balanced. I really think it's a very close game, but I got Concordia winning.
Then Grandview, Evangel. Evangel gets another stiff test to prove whether or not they belong in that top 15 spot. I think Grandview's defense wins this game for them.
I agree, and I think Grandview's defense just puts their offense in such a great situation. Ben Firkins, they've been very efficient this year. He can throw on you as well. He put up 325 yards against Mid-American Nazarene. He did have an off game against Central Methodist, but, I really think that the Grandview defense over with Coach Woodley is going to be put in such a great position. I think they grind Evangel out to maybe like a 21-7 type game, 21-10.
College of Idaho goes to Rocky Mountain, who, if they're not Mattern Hornets right now, the fact that they have back-to-back losses after getting off to such a good start, then they're going to be in a bad spot. But this game is really going to go a ways to deciding who's going to come out of that conference.
Right, and I have College of Idaho winning. You don't return that many starters to not have a special year.
I got the Yogies too.
If you have a team that's down, you better kick them while they're down and not let them up. Right now, Rocky Mountain's down. They're trying to get up. I think Coyotes over there, just kick them down. Keep them down.
We got Kaiser going to Tennessee. That's a heck of a bus ride.
Yeah, and, as somebody that went from Montgomery up all the way in Kentucky, like Kentucky Christian is right there basically on the West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky line. So used to those long road trips. But in all honesty, it doesn't really faze these guys as much as you would think they would because they're having such a great time with their friends and stuff, teammates and brothers. I got Kaiser absolutely stomping Cumberland, Tennessee.
I think that Kaiser feels that emotional game against Reinhardt. And I think that Cumberland sees the chance to jump into the top 25, being right on the fringe.
Right.
And I think they reach up and they bite Kaiser.
Right.
I love Kaiser, but they have to watch out. This is the most dangerous game.
Right. I have a lot of respect for Coach Mathis at Cumberland. I'm picking against you, Coach, but if I want to come to Lebanon, let me come to Lebanon, Tennessee. Scout you guys out. But I have Kaiser absolutely stomping them.
I'll go with Cumberland.
Okay.
I'll go with Cumberland, we'll see who they are if they're for real. Then we have Reinhardt going over to Kennesaw State. Again, if Reinhardt is feeling sorry for themselves, then this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, I think just the disadvantage of 65 scholarships against 28 scholarships. Reinhardt has a huge offensive line. I think they pound it between the tackles. I think Kennesaw State makes adjustments. I think it's close for the first quarter, and I think Kennesaw State takes over.
I'll take Kennesaw State I'm going to say it's going to be a tight one. I think Reinhardt shortens the game, beats Kennesaw State up between the tackles. That hard-nosed play that they want to run for Reinhardt ends up making Kennesaw State really uncomfortable.
Right. Now, here's something we want to mention before we wrap up the show. We are in talks with a radio show. We're keeping it anonymous until it becomes official, to do an NAIA program for the in-state schools. We'll say South Florida because it is in South Florida. To do the in-state schools cover and NAIA in general. If you have a radio station in your town, your city, where you guys are from, and would like a radio show prepackaged, pre-recorded, going over this week's games, okay, in your team situation, we are going to try to take advantage of that. We're not looking for anything special. We just want to get the word of NAIA football out there.
Yeah, I mean, doing a YouTube, doing a Twitter, and all that stuff is great. But, you stumble across people when you're out on the airwaves, even if it is early Saturday morning on an AM station.
Right.
So I think this would be a great opportunity for us to introduce more people to the brand of football that we talk about and love.
Right. And another thing that we just want to mention on personal notes, we do it for the love of it. I'm a high school football coach here in south of Tallahassee, Florida. We're 5-0. We got a huge district game this week. My partner here, he is a dad. He has a full-time job in IT. I think just to let you guys know, if you don't think we're as active as we should, okay, just letting you know, we do it out of the love, okay?
And I'm very grateful that my job lets me do as much as I do.
Right.
Between the hours of 8 and 5, that is phenomenal.
And before we end the show, let's talk about you, Pike, for a little bit.
They reached up and beat Kentucky Christian.
Coach Holland over there gets a win against Corey Phipps, the upstart out of Graysonville, Kentucky, which he isn't an upstart. He's been in the game for a long time. But they are now on a 2-game winning streak. They stumbled against Murray State earlier in the year, 59-20. Then they had the stumble against Reinhardt, which was in overtime. Reinhardt might not even be ranked if Pike wins that game.
They're probably not.
That was very close. That was a telling sign of Reinhardt when Kaiser came up. But they've beaten Bluefield, and then they've beaten Kentucky Christian. They are on a roll.
Now you have a bye
week before Cumberland's Kentucky. I'm telling you, things are looking up for the Bears of UPike.
Absolutely. Then you've got Georgetown, which you don't know what you're gonna get with Georgetown being 0-2 at this point. Before you get a couple of good games down the stretch with Lindsey Wilson, Cumberland, Tennessee, and Bethel, Tennessee.
Yeah, there's no rest over there for the Bears.
It's really
but we can tell how much improved they are. But, guys, we enjoyed you staying with us. We're up to 13, 14 mighty listeners on 15 on Twitter right now, 16. We appreciate you guys lasting. We started out with like 80. So if you're still here, you love NAIA football just like us. We're up to 10 on YouTube right now. We appreciate you guys. Look for the tweets tomorrow. We're going to get going.
Absolutely.
We're almost halfway through the season, getting to that halfway mark. Guys, we appreciate you. John and Cory Thorpe, stay classy.